Welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio, a place where dreams take flight, with authentic storytelling, diverse perspectives and meaningful conversations, where global stories unite and bridges are built beyond all borders. Discover world-class education, entertainment, hope and inspiration. Together, we're building bridges worldwide. Subscribe to our channel, USA Global TV. Download our app, USA Global TV. Be our guest or join our team. Visit usaglobaltv.com. Thanks to our founder and executive producer, Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Music score by Yeffy Tang from Cloud Road Music. Voiceover artist Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. USA Global TV and Radio. Your home for global connection. All rights reserved. This video and its contents are the exclusive property of USA Global TV and Radio. Unauthorized use, duplication or redistribution in any form is strictly prohibited.
Why do we keep doing the things we promised ourselves we'd stop doing? The fear that makes no sense, the habit that survives every ounce of willpower we throw at it, the reaction that arrives before we've decided to have it. My guest today says the answer is rarely a lack of discipline. It's a decision made a very long time ago by a much younger version of you that nobody ever went back and updated. Sarah Wellband spent 20 years as a mortgage broker, then retired to Portugal to be with horses, and she's now a remedial hypnotist and founder of Out of Chaos Therapy. Sarah, welcome to Authentic Achievements.
Thank you, Kim. Lovely to see you again.
It's so lovely to see you as well. And such an exciting topic, because I think we do all often ask ourselves that question, don't we? Why is it that we're still doing the things that we've promised ourselves we're not going to do anymore? So can you tell us a little bit about your journey? And then we're really going to get stuck into that question.
Yes, absolutely. So as you say, I was a mortgage broker in London and Dublin for 20 years. I moved to Portugal in 2007. To fulfill a lifelong dream of having horses. I started with one. I had 10 at one point. I did quite a lot of work with them, both in terms of riding and something called equine assisted training, which is communication training with horses as a trainer, which is fascinating. COVID came along and put a stop to that. So I've always been interested in what makes people do what they do. So I started studying cognitive behavioural therapy to start with, but that wasn't quite what I wanted. So I came across a guy called Tim Box. He has a very popular TEDx talk on YouTube, and I thought, yes, that's what I want to do. So I got in touch with him, and I did the training to become a remedial hypnotist using his control system, and that was 4.5 years ago now. So wow. Time flies.
It does, doesn't it? So, I mean, I think the whole thing's fascinating. And obviously anyone who's watched the show knows that I am totally fascinated with the human brain and the mind and how it works and how we can be in more control of it so that actually we're the ones that's running the show instead of an old version of us. And I guess I often use the analogy of a software update on your phone. Because if you don't, the minute one comes up, you're immediately there, aren't you? Yes. Must update it, must fix those bugs. And yet, if we don't go back and look at what blueprint is running us, we're running on outdated software, aren't we? And is that really what you're helping people to do?
Yes. The analogy that I use, which is really helpful, is that if you imagine that your mind is like a ship, and you have the captain, which is the logical, conscious, rational part of your thinking, and then you have the crew, which is your subconscious. It runs your memory, your automatic thoughts and actions, your creativity. The two big things that are completely controlled by your subconscious is your imagination and your emotions. So when we're little, we're all subconscious. We don't have the ability to rationalize what's happening to us. We learn things, we take them in, they become part of who we are. For myself, for example, a funny story, but when I was little, I got a blister. I used to wear flip-flops like every kid does in the summer, and I got a blister between my big toe and my second toe. And my mum said to me, you can't wear flip-flops anymore. Your feet are the wrong shape for flip-flops now. And I was probably 6 or 7 years old at the time. And it wasn't until I was 60, until I'd done this training and I was working with people, I went into a shoe shop and I suddenly thought, you know what, I wonder if that's right. I wonder if that's still correct. That belief that I've had for 50 plus years that my feet are the wrong shape for flip-flops. I've got a pair of flip-flops and I actually keep them in my office as a reminder that we take on these beliefs. There are things about ourselves that we believe, that our habits and our limiting beliefs, and they're only there because we believe them. And I now wear flip-flops. It's not been life-changing, I have to say, but it's a really good example of we're born with two beliefs, two fears. The fear of being dropped and the fear of loud noises. Anything else that we learn along the way, and anything we can learn, we can unlearn.
I love that. I had to smile about the flip-flop piece because every year when I move into flip-flops, I get that same blister. But that's just the passage of the summer, you know. It's like it's going to go out a week, and then we'll be best of friends again. But I love that piece around that. You know, we don't come with all of these fears. We learn them, don't we? We create them, but then we absolutely believe in them and repeat them to ourselves. And somebody explained it to me once, a little bit like a car running down a track. So, you know, if it makes tracks in the snow, and if it keeps going the same thing, the tracks get deeper. And that's kind of almost how our beliefs become ingrained. We keep repeating them to ourselves. Would that be correct?
Yes. The human brain loves repetition. It loves to know what's coming and it loves to know what's happening next. And we think we're very sophisticated, but we are still living in the cave. And in the cave, we knew we had to hunt for a certain amount. We had to protect ourselves. Your subconscious mind has two roles. One is to keep you safe, and two is to keep you happy. Now, sometimes we do things that aren't inherently safe. We jump out of planes with bags on our backs. We ride fast horses. We drive fast cars. But those things make us very happy. So we can override the protection element for the happiness element. Yes, we are very much creatures of habit. I think it's something like 90% of the things that we do every day are the repetition of the day before. Yeah. So once your subconscious decides a particular strategy, a particular way of being is the way to go, then it takes an awful lot to persuade it to do something else. And it's not objective. It doesn't say, well, drinking a bottle of wine every night is not good for us. We know that. The subconscious goes, yeah, it makes us feel good. It gets rid of the tensions of the day. It allows us to forget about all the things that are making us unhappy. Okay, so a really good example of the captain or the crew is that when we're little and we are grumpy or we're tired or we are unhappy about something, often happiness comes in the shape of a biscuit. Biscuits, when you're a kid, often just solves every problem. So a little part of the subconscious will go, right, biscuits equal happiness. When we're unhappy, have a biscuit. So when we get to our 20s and our problems aren't the problems of a child, they are work-related problems or relationship problems or financial problems, that part of the subconscious goes, I know what will make you happy, a biscuit. A biscuit hasn't made you happy, have another one, have the whole packet. And all of a sudden, you were talking about willpower early on, that act of not having willpower is not something that's trying to hurt you, it's your subconscious doing what it thinks is necessary to make you happy. But it's not been updated. As you say, we've not got the right software in place to say, actually, biscuits aren't the answer to the fact that I'm overdrawn.
Yeah, I love that, because we often do, don't we? We have that wrong reward mechanism.
Yeah, exactly.
And then we know it might be harming us, but as you say, it makes us temporarily happy. So we
Yes.
kind of like almost become our own worst enemy. Like we
Yeah.
and then that that leads us to thinking we're doing everything wrong, when actually what we need to do is go and visit that belief and go, do I still believe it's true?
Yes.
I've had so many over my life that I genuinely believe them to be true. And I live
Exactly.
my life with those blueprints. And now I go back and I look at them and I'm like, yeah, why did you believe that? Why did you let yourself? But I didn't know.
Absolutely. Yeah. And people don't know, that there are so many things that a lot of people, I am one of them. If there's a conflict situation going on, I find it very difficult to talk. I go very quiet and my mind will go blank. And a lot of that is because my mother was a champion shouter. And, I learned very early on that the best way to resolve this situation quickly was not to say anything at all, is to keep quiet. And, it's all these things that we learn in the first 8 to 10 years of our lives become what we call core beliefs, what we believe about ourselves, who we believe ourselves to be, and how we keep ourselves safe. So going back to the premise that your subconscious is there to keep you safe, to keep you happy, most of the things we do are trying to fulfill that brief, but they're not relevant anymore.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to stand over me and shout at me. They can't. I'm an adult. They're not allowed to do that anymore. But there's a part of me that goes, no, keep quiet.
Yeah. Well, I think it takes us back to how we felt as that child.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
And it so resonates. My little girl would be 10 this year, and so I'm so very conscious of everything I say and do, and what that might ultimately be creating as her blueprint.
Yeah.
And I've tried really hard to make sure that I don't say if something is good or it's bad. It's like it's a positive choice or it's a negative choice. Like you are separate to your choice. So just because you made a negative choice doesn't make you a naughty person. The choice was a poor choice. To try and keep them separated from identity, because it's so easy to make them identity, isn't it? To create them and go, oh well, I am that, instead of did that.
Yes, there is an inverse triangle actually in CBT about I am this. So if you say, why did you do this thing? It's because I believe this about me. And what does that mean? It's because I believe this about me. And at the bottom of all of these, when you get right to the bottom, is I am not enough. I'm not clever enough. I'm not sporty enough. I'm not tall enough. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not whatever it is. You get right to the bottom, I'm not enough. And that's what so many people fear. A lot of them don't articulate it, or they will come through in behaviours or habits or self-sabotage. If you don't progress up the career ladder, you can't fail, and then you can't be identified as, well, you were never good enough. So people keep themselves in bad relationships, in job situations that fundamentally make people unhappy, because the risk of being the risk of failing in something else is too great. So there is. I think the other thing with children as well is everything is a learning experience, and with adults we're learning all the time. So just because you do something wrong, you say, okay, well, I did something wrong. What did I learn from it? Or what changes do I make the next time I do it? So doing things wrong is an opportunity.
I love that. It's almost as if you're in my house, Sarah, because I say that to her all the time. It's like I say to her all the time, like, we're all learning. I'm learning. I get things wrong all of the time. And when I recognize I've got it wrong, I will apologize, because I didn't mean to get it wrong. I've now learned it. And if she ever gives me feedback, I always thank her for the learning opportunity, because like, you just helped me grow, because that's all we're here to do, is grow. And it doesn't stop the fact that I will love you with my whole heart always, and you are enough exactly as you are. And I think that was because the you're not enough, the I'm not enough specifically, was something that really resonated for so many years. That was my, whatever happened, oh, it's because I'm not good enough. And I expect that, and that's okay, because at least I know that,
Yes.
and therefore I'm not stupid. Because I knew I wasn't enough. I knew I shouldn't have done that. I knew I wasn't good. So I can see how it pulls all of that fear. And I've spent the last 9 years kind of working through all of those bits and unpicking those beliefs to make sure that I didn't make them Scarlett's beliefs inadvertently. Because if I hadn't done the work, that could leak out all over how I parent her.
But I think it's also important for her to know that we're all imperfect. We will all make mistakes. She'll make mistakes. And some of them will be important, most of them won't, but some will be important, but it's okay. Absolutely. One thing that I say with all my clients is that once we've worked together and we've resolved the problem, what I want them to be able to do is wake up every morning and go, I'm happy to be me.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what else is going on, whether my job's a problem, my relationship's a problem, I don't like where I live, but I don't want to be anybody else. I'm happy being me. And once you've got that base level of self-belief or self-love, then you can really cope with anything else that's going on in your life.
I love that. I say to her all the time, we are all, every one of us is perfectly imperfect. And it is our imperfection that is our perfection. That's our gift to the world. And once we know that, once we can see that, once we can embrace our inner weirdo and go, that's us, that's our gift.
Yeah.
Then everything looks brighter. It doesn't mean everything doesn't go wrong occasionally, because it can, but you stay true to your core. And I love that piece that you talked about around, that self-love part, because that's the piece, isn't it? It's learning to love ourselves. And a lot of, and I see it not just my child, but with you in general, where we externalize validation. Yes. So that you get your validation of whether or not this was a good or a bad thing from outside, and then we start to doubt our own version of it, don't we? Our inner version. It's like, well, I can't possibly have an opinion because I'll have to ask all these people what their opinion is first. And so one of the things I've been trying to help her with is, like, tell me what you're proudest of first. Then I'll tell you what I'm proud of. But work out first what made you proud, what made you happy, why did it feel like that? Let's build some emotion around that, so that hopefully that becomes a really strong belief, because you felt it, you sensed it, you could experience it. But it starts with you, not with me. So,
and the funny thing is that when you think of Scarlett as a baby, she was never anxious. She was never lacking in self-confidence. She was never worried about what people would think about her. Babies are completely self-absorbed. They have to be for their protection, for their to be able to survive. A baby will crawl butt naked into a room full of adults and won't cover themselves up. They'll just sit and laugh at them. So again, all these things, all these ways that we think about ourselves, people come to me and say, I've been anxious all my life. Okay, I think you weren't as a baby. Babies aren't generally anxious. They want to be fed, they want to be cuddled, they want to be changed, they want everything, they're completely egocentric. The whole world revolves around a baby. It's, and you could never bring Scarlett up in a bubble of complete self-belief, and you probably wouldn't want to, because self-belief, self-doubt, self-awareness is all about that learning process.
That's so true, and it so resonates. Having seen Scarlett's growth from baby to now, and also my own growth from having gone back and looked at kind of what needed to be revisited. What I'd loved for us to get into, we're about to go to a short commercial break, but when we come back, I'd really love for us to get into what it feels like to work with you, and to address any of those concerns people have when they hear the word hypnotherapy. So when we come back, we'll be getting straight into that, and in a few seconds we'll be heading to our commercial break.
Okay, lovely.
How much of your value have you been giving away? saying yes when the answer should have been no, lowering your price to secure the opportunity, giving more while receiving less. Over time, it adds up. Until one moment brings clarity, you've been giving away your value. This is not about working harder. This is not about doing more. It's about boundaries. It's about pricing. It's about respect. From Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck comes a direct and necessary message. Stop over-delivering. Stop underpricing your expertise. Stop negotiating against yourself. Because when you recognize your value, everything changes. Stop giving away your value. Boundaries, pricing, and the business of respect. Available now wherever fine books are sold and on Amazon. A film by USA Global TV and Radio. Executive producer Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Videographer and cinematic production Paul Garcia. Voiceover by Ed Wargas. Stop giving it away. Start owning it.
Welcome back. And I'm excited to carry on with the next in-depth part of how do we learn to unlearn those beliefs that are driving us without us knowing. So, Sarah, welcome back.
Thank you.
And before the break, we were chatting about the fact that the next part we're going to dig into, actually, how does it feel to work with you? What's the experience like? And can we dispel some of those myths, concerns, beliefs around what hypnotherapy does and what it doesn't?
Okay, absolutely. So when people think of hypnosis, the first thing that normally comes to mind is stage hypnosis, where people are sitting on a stage and they're pretending to be Elvis, or they think they're a chicken or something like that. And it's great entertainment. It's not great as an advert for the industry. Hypnotherapy, on the other end of the scale, is where people would lie down on a couch and they'd be put into a hypnotic trance, and then the hypnotherapist would talk to their subconscious and try to change their behaviours whilst they are effectively asleep. It's not exactly asleep, but as far as they're concerned. What I do is something different. The guy who trained me, Tim, was a very good hypnotherapist, but he realised that you actually didn't need the trance element to achieve the same results. Okay. And from a practical point of view, if you and I are having a conversation, and I'm having a conversation with your subconscious, but you are awake, you are listening, you are aware of everything that's going on, and for some reason the conversation, let me give you an example. I was working with a lady who wanted to stop smoking, and we'd gone through why it was necessary, why it was a good idea, and the subconscious at the last minute said no. So I was able to say to her subconscious crew, put into her conscious mind what the objection is, why you're not prepared to do this when you know it's the right thing to do. And she simply said, well, I'm going to get fat, aren't I? I'm going to put on weight. So her subconscious had said, well, no, we prefer to smoke rather than to be overweight, because we prefer our current pattern to a different pattern, different habit. So we were able to deal with that objection in real time and make the appropriate changes. So I use what's called IMRs, idiomotor responses, which basically allows the subconscious mind, without getting too technical, to move your fingers without you being consciously aware of it. And in that way, I can have a two-way conversation with the part of the subconscious which has a belief that is now no longer being helpful, be it food-related, be it anxiety, be it pain. There is a long list of things that I work with. And when somebody says, hang on, my fingers are moving and I'm not moving them, then I know I'm talking to the subconscious. So it's very much solution-focused. We measure where we are at the start of the process, where we want to be, and then we measure again at the end. We're not hoping or chancing to luck. We are working with the problem at the very base level. Hope that makes sense.
No, it did. It was fascinating. I love the idea of being able to have that conversation with your subconscious, because I know sometimes I feel I really can, have that conversation. If I ask myself the right questions and I stay open enough. But
Yeah.
but it's a hard skill to learn. And
Yes. But it's part of what I do is the last part of the program is that I teach people how to communicate with their own subconscious, because in the nicest possible way, when we've completed the program, if somebody comes back to me, then I failed, because everybody has the ability to talk to their own subconscious. They just need to know how. And there is something called metacognition, which is the ability to think about what you're thinking about. And when you can do that, when you can step away from, I feel angry. What do I need to work on? Do I need to act on this anger? Why am I feeling angry? Is there a different way I can be feeling? And when you've got that, and that's the skill I teach people, then they don't need me anymore. They're their own therapist. My accountant hates it, but I don't want repeat clients. I want people to go away going, you know what? Any problem that I come up with in the future, I will know how to deal with. Or I will have my ability to resolve.
I love that. I think we're very similar. I know in what I do, I do the same. It's like if you need me back, I've probably not done it well enough. Because, unless another different situation. I mean, I don't do similar things, but unless totally different situation has come up. But that ability to kind of be able to your point, that to be able to view your thoughts almost like a third person. One of the things I ask myself so many times is, why do I really think that? Why am I thinking that right now? Why am I saying that right now?
Yes.
Is there something different? And I thought I was just weird until I realised that actually what I've done is develop a skill that I didn't even know had a skill or a title to it at the time of doing it. But it's changed how I view everything now. It's allowed me to make different choices in different situations. Like, to be able to go, I know I'm getting angry now, so I've got choices. I can step away and I can go and deal with what's making me angry, and I can come back, or I can see, is there something else that I can do? And it has led to people before now going, my God, are you just a robot? You should just park that, or to say, I need time out for 5 minutes to deal with what's going on for me, and then I can come back and be fully present with what's going on here. Because we think we talk in facts, but the reality is our emotional brain responds 24 times faster than our thinking brain, doesn't it? So something happens, our emotional brain responds to it, and then our logical brain comes and deals with whatever our emotional brain's brought up.
Exactly. And our emotional brain will react based on our previous experiences. The brain will then always look for patterns. It will look for, okay, when did we have a situation like this previously? What did we do then? Did that work? Should we do something different? So, we have an exaflop. An exaflop is a billion, and that's the amount of processes that the human brain can do every second. Unfortunately, our conscious mind is a lot slower, but the amount of information that we can process is phenomenal. And then we have to try and pick through all that, pick the right answer that is going to suit the situation, or is going to resolve the situation. And we can get it wrong a lot of the time. But whenever somebody says, there's a part of me that thinks this, or there's a part of me that thinks I shouldn't do that, I say, okay, I want to talk to that part. That's the part that is worried, is scared. Because again, the subconscious trying to keep you safe. It's and that it can be very powerful. I work with people who've got a fear of public speaking, and they will stand up to talk, and they literally will not be able to make a noise, because the subconscious has said, you don't want to do this, because when you did it when you were 11 years old at school and everybody laughed at you and it was awful and it was social suicide at the time, so we're not going to do that anymore because I'm protecting you. I will take your voice away from you if necessary to stop this bad thing happening again. And you go, no, it's the boss, I need to do this presentation. No. See, the subconscious always predates your conscious ability. So if it comes down to it, the subconscious will always opt for safety and do the thing that it believes to be best.
Amazing. That's fascinating. In fact, I share a very similar story at the start of my TEDx, which was about whenever I go and do public speaking, less so, in fact, not at all now. But every time I used to, it reminded me of the time I got it wrong. And I told everybody that one of the charities we were going to support was Imperial Leather, and I meant Imperial Cancer. And clearly it was severely wrong. And I worked for a bank at the time. It was a bit embarrassing, and there was hundreds of people. And I've never said anything that stupid again. Every time it would be like, remember, just remember.
And again, that's your little crew member going, Kim, remember this time.
But I now have, over the years, because I knew that and learned that, I now have lots of crew members that go, look at all the times you got it right. Look at all the times people came up and went, thank you for that. I learned so much, or I really needed to hear that today, or whatever it is that makes you go, okay, we're good. We can do this. But it's learning those bits, isn't it? And sometimes it's having somebody external to us to help us on that journey, because if we try and do the journey solely on our own, our little helper wants to keep us safe, starts to trip us up.
Yeah.
Would that be fair? Because we don't know which parts to believe and which parts not to believe, because
again, the subconscious will always go for safety, and it will always go for what it knows. So imagine if you're stuck in a muddy puddle, and you're up to your knees in mud, and you're going, I need to make an effort to get to the bank. I need to make an effort. And your subconscious is going, well, we're all right here. We don't need to do any work. We can't see a reason why we actually need to move. That moving is going to take effort. Whereas your conscious mind is going to, but I need to get to the bank. So you can have that mismatch of what you know that you want, give up drinking, for example, or not, deal with your anxiety or resolve your trauma, and the subconscious go, no. The subconscious doesn't have the ability to be logical, to rationalize. Things are yes or no, on or off, good or bad. And when I come along and say, okay, that thing that you think is good, was good, isn't good anymore, it is now bad, it's now holding this person back, you need to change it, or you need to stop it. And the subconscious goes, oh, okay, no problem. And that's why the work that I do is generally completed within 3 sessions, because we're not having to persuade, we're not having to make a whole argument about why we need this change, we just need this change. That's all the subconscious needs to know. It goes, okay, change made.
I love that. It's fascinating. I think that, we know so little about the mind and the brain in comparison to what it's actually capable of doing, and yet every time we learn something new, it blows my mind about just how amazing the bit we do know is. And I think for me, the bit I love about what we're learning about the brain is it works for everyone. So there's nobody it won't work for, because again, that can be one of those beliefs that we tell ourselves, that it's like, oh, but it won't work for me because, and then whatever we've added on to that to say what makes us different to the way neuroscientifically we are all built, because we're all built the same way, aren't we? We're different people, we've got different strengths and different weaknesses, but the neuroscience is the same neuroscience, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much. And it's interesting you say that, because a lot of people have defined themselves by their problem. And somebody says, I've been anxious all my life, and you say, well, you don't need to be anxious. Anxiety is actually an emotion, but you can use it for your benefit rather than being scared of it. And they go, but what will I be without that? Who will I be? Or trauma. Some people will define themselves by something that happened that they can't leave alone, but it's comfortable almost. It's almost part of their makeup. And they go, I actually work with a guy, his videos on my website, and he was quite disorientated afterwards, because, well, without this thing, this awful thing, but it's been part of me for so long, who am I? What do I do now? And so we had to do some sessions on getting used to being without the bad thing. My own subconscious just reminded me when I had laser surgery for my glasses, to remove glasses, or to not wear glasses. And for a few days afterwards, I had to take the lenses out and actually have the glasses on my face because I felt so weird without this furniture on my face. So, we the bad things that have happened to us, or the part of us, or not no longer serving us, can still provide us with an identity.
Yeah,
And
that makes
moving that can be challenging.
that makes such sense. Sarah, I could literally chat to you about this all day, but I'm conscious time's just disappearing on us. And I want to ensure that before we go, we can share with the audience, how can they get in touch with you and who do you help?
Okay, so I don't have a particular group of people I help. I will try to help everybody. But what I would do is get in touch with me at outofchaostherapy.com. I always start with a free conversation, either just a quick 15-minute chat and then a full conversation, or a full 60 minutes to start with. I want to invest in people to make sure that I can help them before they have to even decide whether they want to proceed. Really important. And I also offer a money-back guarantee. If we have 3 sessions and we don't achieve the changes that we set out in session 1, then I'll give a full money-back guarantee. It doesn't sit right with me to work with people and not make the changes and still charge the money. So I will always have a chat with anybody about anything, and even if we can't work together, I can promise that the person will know more about themselves at the end than they did at the start. So
everybody listening and watching, there is no downside to picking up and having a conversation, because at the very worst, you'll learn something more about yourself. Would that be fair?
Yeah, absolutely.
And is there one final fear that you think is worth sharing with people that might be stopping them from sending that email to you, sending you that message, connecting with you on a social?
I think there are two levels. Some people think my problem isn't serious enough, but if it's affecting you, if it is affecting your happiness, then it is serious enough for me anyway. Or the other end of people go, this has been going on for too long. I can't change. But you can. People can change every day. I started smoking when I was 10 years old. I stopped smoking when I was 60 years old. And I now go to the gym and I will be deadlifting 100 kilograms this year. People change. People can change all the time. And if somebody's going, yes, I need to make a change, then get in touch. Let's talk.
Amazing. Sarah, thank you so very much. It's always such a delight to chat to you. And you've shared such great advice for us. And I, like you, absolutely believe every single one of us has the capacity to change. Sometimes we just need a little bit of help to get started, because that could be the piece that holds us back. So thank you so very much for coming and sharing your insight and your wisdom with us here today. I really appreciate it. And I look forward to our next conversation.
Thank you. Well, I'll see you very soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And as we start to draw today's show to an end, I hope you found it as interesting and insightful as I have. I think sometimes when we work through these things, we convince ourselves that it's not going to work for us. It's not going to be right. And yet, actually, sometimes we just need to ask a different question. That's one of the things I do now for my career, is help boards and CEOs to ask better questions, to understand, where is it that I need to be more curious? Where is it that I've got a belief that perhaps needs working on? So if that's something that resonates for you, then please do get in touch. I'd be happy to help. And as we are about to now leave until the next fortnight, I'd leave you one piece, which is ask yourself a really curious question about, what is it that would really make you happy? And sit with it. It sounds really weird, but I promise you, it will be a real game changer for you. Because when you just sit with it, you allow other parts of your mind, your subconscious mind, to spring to life and share with you the dream that is yours. that it doesn't want to let go of. Until next time, take care.
What if many of the problems we associate with aging are not random? What if there are identifiable causes behind declining energy, chronic disease, and memory problems? We have been told that aging is simply something we must accept, that slowing down is normal, that growing older means growing weaker. But what if that's only part of the story? Why do some people remain active and engaged well into their later years? Why do others struggle with disease, fatigue, and declining health? What is happening beneath the surface? What processes drive aging? In Aging Sucks, researcher, educator, and author Red O'Loughlin explores what researchers have discovered about why we grow older. No medical degree required, no confusing jargon, just clear explanations of what researchers have discovered about the processes that influence aging. You cannot stop aging, but understanding its causes may help you make better decisions about your health, your future, and your quality of life. Because understanding comes before action. Action creates hope. Aging sucks. End the guesswork. There is hope. Every day, we wake up knowing what we should do. We know we should take better care of ourselves. We know we should have the difficult conversation. We know we should stop making excuses. We know we should invest in our future. We also know we should take the first step. So why don't we? It's not because we aren't smart enough. It's not because we don't have enough information. And it's certainly not because we don't care. We live in a world overflowing with knowledge. Books, podcasts, videos, courses, experts, even artificial intelligence. We have more access to information than any generation before us. Yet so many of us are still waiting for the right time, waiting to feel ready, waiting until tomorrow. But tomorrow becomes next week becomes next year, and before you know it, another opportunity has passed us by. The truth is, knowing has never been the finish line. It's only the starting line. Our lives don't change because we know more. Our businesses don't grow because we know more. Our relationships don't improve because we know more. And our health doesn't transform because we know more. Everything changes when we act. When we choose courage over comfort, progress over perfection, action over intention. The question isn't, what else do we need to know? The question is, what are we going to do with what we already know? Stop. Why Knowing Isn't Enough by Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Because knowing opens the door. Action changes your life. Available September 2026.
Thank you, viewers and listeners of USA Global TV and Radio, for joining us today. We're honoured to have your time and attention as part of our global community. At USA Global TV and Radio, we believe in the power of authentic conversations, meaningful connections, and creating a world of possibilities together. Want to be part of something bigger? Join our team of elevated listeners at usaglobaltv.com, a space where your voice matters and your ability to listen transforms relationships. Stay connected with us across all our platforms for thought-provoking discussions, expert insights, and empowering stories. Subscribe to our channels at youtube.com/c/usaglobaltv. Follow us on social media and explore the endless opportunities we're creating for growth, learning, and inspiration. Together, we're not just broadcasting, we're building bridges and changing lives one conversation at a time. For inquiries, contact us at info@usaglobaltv.com. Produced by Executive Producer and Director Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. Voiceover by Mike Porter. Creative direction by Paul Garcia. All rights reserved. Visit usaglobaltv.com to view our full terms and conditions.